There's still no cinema in the borough. The dog track has closed and is earmarked for housing. And
Don't write it off just yet, Ben. Some of us have been campaigning for many years now to get both the cinema and that dog track back. We both know that there are deals on the table that can be done to get the cinema back and to get the dog track back. The point is we need the community to get behind those deals and make it very clear that certainly both of those sites we want to be seeing used for entertainment use.
I don't think you're going to get much disagreement from any of us in this room over these two issues. The dog stadium is there. We know, because we've had meetings, there is a company that I want to buy this and turn it in and reopen the dog track. The cinema, yes, we're all for opening the cinema. We're going to have to work with the church, but we want to work with them so that we can get the cinema back for the people of Walthamstow, and let's not forget about this, the people of Chingford, the people of Leighton and Leytonstone as well, so they can come to the cinema in the heart of the borough.
Yeah, if you're well behaved, we'll let you across the border.
Anything like to add, Farid?
There's not much more to add to that, actually, but I absolutely agree with my colleagues. I mean, cinema in Walthamstow is something that we definitely need. But the issue really comes down to, I mean, everyone's agreed that we need a cinema. You know, Neil Gerrard, our MP, has agreed and has supported the cinema and has actually campaigned for it, as has Stella and Andy. But there's actually not a lot that we can actually do apart from trying to, make the issue larger than it really is. At the end of the day, it's going to be the councillors and the council that decide what they will do in terms of the site. You know, whether there's going to be a compulsory purchase order, which I don't think will happen. I think the council has had two independent... they
have two legal opinions which have said we could probably see compulsory purchase it, but if the church then appeal, they will win the appeal. That's what we've been told, and that's going to saddle the council taxpayer with massive legal bills. So what we need to do is we need to work with the church to say, look, we want our cinema back.
Sorry, I have to disagree with you there, Farid, because actually I think there are things that any of us could do if we are elected to be the MP. I mean, as I've been involved in this campaign from the start, and actually the role that Neil has played, the role that all of us as campaigners have played, not just in lobbying the council, but also in going to the government. I mean, you may forget we actually won an appeal with the Secretary of State about the planning decision and upholding that decision. So actually, whoever's the MP for Walthamstow needs to be somebody who isn't just saying, well, I'll turn up and I'll support this campaign. I'll actually get stuck in. I'll go and talk to the Secretary of State about this. I'll make the case for Walthamstow to have its cinema. It's also about some of the funding streams that we can bring on board. I was really worried by the Liberal Democrat idea about asking the people in the community to pay for that cinema, that somehow we should have been raising money for it. But if and when we can get a deal on the table well, it was something put forward, and all of us as MacGuffins were pretty cross about that, because it was our fault that we hadn't got the cinema back. But actually, when we can get a deal on the table with the church, there is a case for maybe putting together a community bond trust scheme. Now, if we do that, there's a really important role that you can play as an MP in showing that actually that's a possible thing to do. So I don't hold your assumption that all we can do is hope for the best from the councillors. I think actually some of us are certainly committed to doing more than that.
Definitely. I mean, I'd just like to say that I think working with the Secretary of State on this issue is very important. So seeing as though we're going to have a Conservative Secretary of State, we need a Conservative MP for Walthamstow.
Assuming the Conservatives win, of course.
Of course we're going to win.
Perhaps, Andy, we need the best case for it, because any Secretary of State worth their salt, whether they are Labour or indeed Liberal or Conservative, if we make the strong case that I think there is there for that cinema to be economically viable and part of Walthamstow's regeneration, then we'll get it back.
Can I just come back on that point? I mean, I agree with the fact that we need to get the Secretary of State involved, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the UKCG which we're going to have to sit down with and actually negotiate. And that's why if you remember Stella and Andy, I suggested that maybe we sit down with them around a table, possibly a sort of a land swap where we swap.
Have you tried to talk to them about it, Farid? Because I have. I mean, they're quite difficult to talk to about these things, and that's why we need both the carrot and the stick.